Before starting the budget revision process, make sure that your administrator has completed integration and post-configuration tasks such as running the Prepare Revisions rule, which copies data from the original budget to an adopted budget in EPM planning financials for selected periods and years. The adopted budget is the starting point for the revision process. Access budget revisions from the Financials card on the homepage. Budget Revisions comes with dashboards and forms that can help you plan for your budget revisions. The Summary tab displays an overview of your budgets and budget revisions. Let's go through a sample budget revision workflow. Select the appropriate data intersection in the POV. In Manage Revision, you can create and work with budget revisions, share revisions, check funds, reserve funds, clear revisions, and get funds results. I'll create and populate revisions for this data intersection. In Create Populate Revision, define the scope of data for your revision. When creating a budget revision, you can select parent members for entity and the primary dimension. In this example, if I selected Information Systems and Governmental Funds, revisions for Level 0 members under those parents will display on the form. Select an entity. In this case, I am selecting a Level 0 member. Then, select a member for the primary dimension. Funds is my budget revision's primary dimension. Enter a justification and a description for the budget revision. For revision type, you can select permanent, temporary or emergency, or transfer. Then, select your control budget. This is the control budget that stores the budget revision and updates the balance you reserve in Oracle ERP Cloud Budgetary Control. For revision method, select direct entry if you want to input values, or trend-based if you want to pre-populate the data in the revision. Select an expense account. Percentage revision is typically used when you select the trend-based revision method. Since I selected direct entry, I'll set this to 0. When ready, click Launch. A new revision is added to the form. If you selected a parent primary dimension member, a row for each Level 0 member is created under the same revision number. You can add details for the revision in header notes or header attachment URL. Header level details are meant to be a single value across several records to which the same revision is shared. When you update the data for any one record, the same value is applied to all records. If you update different values to different records of the same revision, then the value for the last one listed is applied to all records. Reference is a custom attribute defined in the budget revision's descriptive information component. Let's enter budget revision values. In this example, I added a budget of $9,000 for Q1, equally divided between July to September. I'll move the allocation from July to October. You can optionally enter line-level descriptive details. Line code is a custom attribute. Next, I'll run a funds check to see if the funds are available. This action makes a call to Budgetary Control to check funds and validate that the entire budget revision meets the controls set in Budgetary Control. For example, a budget reduction may not be allowed below what has already been spent. Let's take a look at the funds check results for this revision. The revision displays a line status of passed for all periods I've entered values to. If your funds check is successful, you can reserve funds. If your revision does not meet the controls set in Budgetary Control, the funds status is set to failed. In Funds Check Results, review details of the validation. I'll reserve funds for this budget revision. Enter approval comments and proceed with the funds reservation. Once reserved successfully, this revision process is complete and no longer appears on the form. Let's take a look at the funds check results. Notice that the header result displays reserve. Let's review the approved budget. Here is my approved budget with funds successfully reserved. If you have access to budgetary control, you can drill through and review budgetary control balances. The Review Budgetary Control Balances page shows budget and consumption details. The budget revision number, justification, and other attributes are reflected in the budget transaction. It also shows the budget revisions associated with it. Related videos and tutorials are listed in the description. To learn more, visit docs.oracle.com.